The Supreme Court will allow Texas to use its heavily gerrymandered congressional map, a ruling that could give Republicans up to 5 more House seats.
Were you surprised, Sam?
I didn't even know it was coming, to be honest.
Yeah.
But,
here's what happened. I can't talk about the substance because I'm an expert in some of these cases, but I can at least...
expert witness, to clarify.
Expert witness, right. I can at least give a quick summary. So, Donald Trump, way back in the middle of last year, the middle of this year, said, we've got to redistrict to get Republicans more seats, and pressured Governor Abbott of Texas to begin that process. Didn't take much pressuring. And so they, in the summer of 2025, called a special session and gerrymandered an already heavily gerrymandered map to give Republicans more seats. Allegedly 5 more seats. We'll see. You never know. But that was the objective. And I think it was finally passed and signed in August of 2025. A 3-judge court reviewed the plan and found it was an unconstitutional racial gerrymander, with the opinion written by a judge appointed by Donald Trump. The decision was paused by Justice Alito, who's assigned to that circuit, and the Supreme Court, in one of these rocket docket opinions, without full consideration, overturned the 3-judge court opinion and said Texas must use the new gerrymandered map because it was a political gerrymander, not a racial gerrymander. They also made the argument that you don't want to change things too close to an election. Wait a minute. They didn't pass this thing until August. The plaintiffs moved as fast as you possibly can. So you're rewarding a state for passing something as late as possible, and then when it gets overturned, you're saying sorry, it's too late.
And
that's just inexplicable.
And aren't they just asking to go back to the old districts? It's not like no. I'm saying it wouldn't be like the change would make things all crazy and confusing for people. They would go back to the old districts. Yes,
you go back to the districts that have been people using for many years. I can't even imagine. People were so closely following the special session that they all figured out what their new districts were going to be.
Right.
What were the chances of that? 0.
No, even people. I mean, we're both pretty locked into political elections and politics. I would have no idea if districts that we live in change this way or that way.
Yeah, we would know when we got our,
I
postcards in the mail.
I couldn't look at a map and be like, oh, this has changed and that line has changed.
That's such nonsense.
Yeah, you'd have to be like literally an elections district expert, to memorize.
Maybe 1 out of 1,000 voters, parsed the new districts as compared to their old and figured out where they were.
So does this mean now that California can just go ahead with Prop 50?
No.
It doesn't?
No.
What? I'm so confused.
The California redistricting is a separate case. Now, if the courts are consistent, of course, they should apply the same standard to the California redistricting and not block it. But that presumes the courts are going to act consistently.
Right. And you're saying don't count on it?
I don't think they'll shoot down the California redistricting, but as I said, I'm not in the business of predicting what the Supreme Court is going to do.
Right. Dad, the U.S. has halted all immigration and citizenship cases for nationals from 19 different countries, leaving thousands in limbo as the administration reviews, quote, security risks.
This is, I'm continually at a loss for words. Every time I think they can't go lower, they go lower. We had one act committed by one individual who was vetted and brought in by what administration, Sam?
I don't know. I've lost track.
Administration, right?
Well, I thought that he came in initially through the Biden administration, and then he was granted asylum through the Trump administration.
I think that's probably right, but vetted by the Trump administration to be allowed to stay. If he wasn't granted the asylum from the Trump administration, he wouldn't be here. One individual commits one murder. How many murders, gun murders? How many gun murders a day are there in America?
I don't know.
Over 40 a day in America. So you got one very disturbed individual who people warned about committing a murder, and you, as a result of that, discriminate against people in 19 countries. It's absolutely insane from any kind of rational, logical point of view. It's just an excuse for Trump to clamp down, not on all immigration, but what do these 19 countries have in common?
I'm guessing they're black and brown countries.
They're black and brown and Muslim countries. You don't see any predominantly white Christian countries being included. But of course, a deranged act by one person means everyone in Muslim and non-white countries is tainted with guilt. You could find from gun murders, from gunning down police. A police official is shot every single day in America. And Trump was warned, you put National Guard on the streets, they'll be targets, just like police officers are targets. But to, discriminate against, very selectively, against people from 19 countries based on this single act just staggers the imagination and is so obvious that it's nothing more than a pretext for Trump's prejudices. Thanks for watching our video. And don't forget to like, subscribe, and become a member today.